This is John Corbett talking to whoever's listening. This is the Discard Pile Season 3, Episode 4. It is July something, 2016. We're having a European spectacular. By spectacular, I got one European and somebody with a fucking feedback speaker. We're lucky to even be here. I almost got shut down. Google deleted my YouTube and sent me some really scary emails telling me they're going to shut down all my accounts. And being paranoid, I thought it was an old nerd enemy. Somebody said something. I started getting all paranoid and angry, but I don't know. I sent them an appeal or whatever. We're back. We're back. So my first guest from the other side of the pond is Nick Yankovic. Welcome, Nick.
Hello, John.
So, Nick, you were all upset you couldn't be on the last show because we started late. What is so pressing that you got to get off your chest?
Well, I think we were going to discuss the referendum, or I wanted to discuss the referendum.
You wanted to, but no one cared about Brexit on that show.
Yeah, but I do. And more Trump stuff. And there's other stuff I want to discuss today.
Yeah, no one cares about Brexit. Sorry, man. We're an American-dominated show. My usual sidekick from Seattle, Justin. Welcome, Justin.
What up?
You pumped about Hillary's VP pick, Justin?
It'll be interesting.
We're not. This is going to be an all Trek-related show until Nick takes the wheels off or whatever the fuck he does. And I got one more guest, and I was throwing out the mass invite. And Kevin, it's been like 2 years since you've been on the show. Where have you been?
Same place I always am, trying to take over the world.
All right, so we're going to get right to the Trek, because we're going to try to do an all-Trek show, which is rare. We got the big, and I want to give Europeans a chance. Eurocontinentals is going on, I think, as we speak, or something. And the grief right away is that day one there was 5 Starfleet and 5 Voyager out of 14 players. I don't care. I think it's a European problem. We had no problems in the North American Continentals. Kevin, I want your hot take right away, Kevin. I don't care about European Nick's opinion.
Well, I'll just say that I completely agreed with your point on complete lack of gamesmanship. If they know it's such a problem, if you know that you're going to go in and you're going to face a whole bunch of something, you should be figuring out what you're going to do to beat it. I mean, that's card gaming 101. If a meta becomes incredibly predictable, you run the counter. That's simple.
Yeah, unlike Romulan, where I really don't know how you build a deck just to beat Romulan, but you can build a deck just to beat Voyager. Nick, what's wrong with the Europeans? Explain what they do this all the time.
I know, but all right, 3 of the 5 play Voyager a lot, don't they? 3 of the 5 that played, Vlad, Stefan, and what the other guy's name is. And they're really good players anyway. So they play Voyager pre the last set, and they won with it. And now they're playing it again, and surprisingly, they're still winning with it.
So it was a design mistake to give Voyager such a heavy push that they did.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, then why are all the Europeans bitching about 5 Voyager decks if it's?
Because Europeans bitch a lot. Have you not noticed that?
Oh, okay. Well, we all bitch a lot. I can't complain about the Europeans. All right. So then in day 2, I think it calmed down a little bit. There was only 3 Voyager, 2, and of course the Romulan decks came out because I was surprised that no one played them day 1, but you know they're going to show up. They're at the top of my. Kevin, you would agree that Romulans are at the top of the power rankings, right?
I would say that, especially for, just all you got to do is win format. Doesn't matter if it's full or modified. Yeah, of course. Any way that you can control the game, yeah.
I don't know if they got to control the game. They they got everything. All they are is get out to people and good luck trying to stop me. You got unstoppers, kill preventers, and you got Denacha for anything silly. So they're just, kind of like Maquis at one point. They just kept giving them everything.
Well,
until it was.
Romulans also play into what the Europeans do well, and that's play a deck that's 70 cards plus.
Oh, yeah, download, based on download, yeah. Yeah, you're right. So what do I take from all these people are complaining about phase 2? There's day 1 crying. People talk about people dropping. This is a red herring, right? Is that the word? Like it's bullshit, right, Nick?
I think so. Mostly. I mean, I think there are a few cards that could maybe have a little bit of errata on, but I don't think it's that bad.
Well, I'll talk out of school since I'm on the errata team. Homeward Bound. We had to send 3 different errata types because I don't know what you're going to do with it. So the testers are working it out to see where you go from there, and then Josh, of course, has to make the decision. So I mean, everyone knows Homeward Bound was a little off. It needs to be brought in line, and it will. All right, I guess that's it about Europeans. It was all bullshit. I was hoping to have a European defender on the show. And I'm doing my show in the middle of the afternoon here. I'm trying to get all my nerd shit out. I've been on the road. I got one day. I've got fantasy football, aka Dungeons and Dragons. I got the Trek stuff, and then I got a Project Dargo, whatever the hell the set is on. We got to do that. And so then the next CC thing was Project Awakening was announced, and which was I sent an invite to Tyler. So, but he doesn't show up to meetings that often. So, I don't know. A group went out to figure out the problems of TUI, and they've come. What's that?
Which group?
Yeah, well, I don't know. A group, a shadow group. I don't know. They come back with 3 problems: slow play, a new format to get new players, and hands down into TUI. Kevin, what were your thoughts about hands down?
Oh, such a bad idea. Such a bad idea. I mean, you can't just say hands down. You then have to then further clarify that the hands down is hands down after the completion of an action and all sorts of nonsense. But everything that everyone's been saying on the boards is exactly true. The problems with hands down are just that, the fact that it can be gamed even more by a person manipulating their last few turns than anything else. If they can look at the clock, they can just go, okay, I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to do something, I'm going to do a couple of things here right at the end, and because it's hands down, even though I went first, you don't even get an equalizing turn. So, with hands down, you take the power out of one person's hand, you put it into another person's hand completely. With it is, as we have it now, the person who goes second, they have the power towards the end of the game to make their turn go super fast to give themselves a bonus turn. And right now that's entirely fair. I see that every single tournament. That's fair. Whereas if you go hands down, it's just going to end up being completely unfair over the course of time, and you're going to have a lot of complaints over it. The problem isn't even the time limit. I mean, people are talking about needing to go to 50-minute games and stuff, and that's not. The amount of time is arbitrary no matter what way you look at it. There's nothing wrong with a 60-minute game. But the problem is that the game is becoming more and more and more and more complex. And when it's more complexity, it takes more time to execute.
Yeah.
Is the issue that TDs aren't allowing enough time for a round, so it's 60 minutes of game time, and then allow 15 minutes after? Is that the problem? Did you hear that?
Run that one more time, Nick.
Is the problem that TDs aren't allowing enough time in tournaments? So when you work out how long your tournament's going to last, we allow 60 minutes for game time, and then an extra 15 minutes for people to finish up and do the pairings.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, they don't
slow play thing.
Yeah, well, I think people just want shorter tournaments. And are creating this slow play, which it's a thing in certain areas because of certain people. This is a people problem, not a structural problem. Because like Kevin said, any amount of time is arbitrary. And now I'm hearing the dreaded people have families and they need, so they want the 4-round tournament to be 4 hours. Well, guess what? Have a 3-round tournament in 4 hours. You'll have it done regardless. So, I mean, if you don't want to, they don't want to spend 5 to 6 hours playing a 4-round tournament. But I haven't had one of those, and in a decade. I haven't encountered this problem. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I don't go everywhere. I go a lot of places. So if you're going to do 4 rounds, you're going to take 5 hours to 5.5 if you have slow people. So just do a 3-rounder. I don't know what a solution is. Justin, give the devil's advocate argument for hands down.
I was going to say one thing, too, on the time, people that want shorter tournaments, you talk about the different formats. We have, Slipstream, Sealed, or Slipstream is a format, a 4-round tournament's done in 2 hours or 2.5 hours. There you go. You get your tournament, your Trek fix, and it's done in 2.5 hours, and you get to go home to your family. Hands down, I think the only potential that would make this worth being considered at all is we would have to do something for going second, more than just like your historical research. There'd have to be some advantageous thing.
I think HR is actually too much of an advantage. Just download X, but it is. I'm accepting it.
Well, because the whole turn, like Kevin said, that you go really. I've done it. Clock is down. I went second. I finished my bloody last turn. Go. 1 minute left on the game clock. I get a free turn.
But bottom line though, Kev, let's start with Kevin. Is this a problem that needs to be addressed in some dramatic fashion?
No. The truth of the matter is that it's a misdirected problem. If people's primary complaint is that their tournaments are taking too long because they want to get home to their families, their problem is the fact that we're all getting older and they want to spend time with their family.
I hate that excuse because I just drag your family. I don't know how other people live their lives, but what I say goes. I say, hey, we're going to go play Star Trek, and yeah, there might be some griping, but kids gripe no matter where you take them. It doesn't matter. Spend time with your kids. Make them play conscripts, baby. Crack the whip. They're playing a game which requires some thought. They're spending time with their father. It's a win-win situation. That's right. It's forced labor. That's my solution to the recruitment problem. Nick, it's slow play. Do you agree with Kevin? Is slow play something that needs to be addressed?
Sorry, eating. I have had some issues with some players who have purposely played slow so they get the mod win. But I don't think that can be addressed with time limits or. That's a people problem.
Yeah, much like the COC, and I said when I had my big debate with Charlie, you can't regulate decorum and manners and morals. You can't regulate those things. It's the only thing you do is just tell people and say, hey, when it comes to recruitment, hey, don't smash the new guy. Hey, the guy's taking slow. Say, hey, man, you're taking a little too long. I need you to, I've done it. I've just said, hey, man, I gotta, I usually say now, I go, time is on your side, just so you know. And usually they don't, they usually don't, stall out. I just, you got to put it on them. You got to say, hey, man, the clock's on your side. And if they want to stall you out to win a Star Trek card game at this point, go ahead. Go ahead. You're gonna win. You're gonna win a clock game. Congratulations. So that's my theory. That's what I do when the time's on their side, and if they take too long, they can get a time win. I just let them know, hey, man, clock's on your side. But like I said, you can't regulate stuff like that. I'm very public about the new player myth fallacy, where I think for as long as the CC has existed, they've had this fantasy of recruiting players through demos and other stuff. And the Project Awaken conclusion, whatever that may be, is that the game's too hard to get into. It's like 1E, or the card pool is too big. So we got to limit the card pool, make a new format, and that will somehow lead to people playing. Kevin, is that a conclusion? Is that something that makes sense to you?
Okay, so I disagree with new players to be out there and be recruited. I do it even here in my, town of 180,000 people. I mean, I've got players, newer players that I've been able to recruit. The problem hasn't been that the game is too complex. That has not been the problem. Because the fact of the matter is, though, is that the best way to get a new player into the game is to literally hold their hand for them, build them a deck, show them how to do it, talk to them about why it works, talk to them about why this works, why this doesn't work. They will eventually get to a point where they will want to build their own deck, and they'll come to you for advice, and that's how you do it. the game being in Hui is not complex. It's not so complex that you can't just, because you shouldn't be just throwing somebody in the deep end anyway. When you teach somebody how to play a brand new card game, you need to step them along and work them along, and eventually, like I said, they will get to a point where they feel like they can take the training wheels off their little bike. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
the problem isn't that
what you said is kind of like a mentor program, and that's what I was kind of thinking in my head. You need to mentor somebody if you want a new player. It's regardless of the format or whatever. You gotta make sure other people in the group aren't showing up with straight jank in a local, just straight smashing people. And that happens. Like I said, you gotta tell that guy, hey man, don't smash the new guy. What's wrong with you? You're hurting business.
So do we need
Sorry. The secret of success that I've had in my player group is that we are friends first, we're competitors second. And yeah, mentorship is exactly it's probably the best way to describe exactly how my little play group operates and has operated for the last however many years, is that we're all friends who happen to play the card game together. Like, if you want to learn the game, you have to both learn the game and become our friend. And that's not a problem, because we're all friendly guys. And the play groups that I've noticed have struggled to stay alive are the ones where the people keep each other at arm's length, and the ones that seem to do well are the ones where everyone's cool with each other and do stuff with each other other than this. Because we have our gaming days where we play Trek, but then we'll do a bag tournament out in my backyard. We'll do these other things. I mean, mentorship is probably the best solution to the problem, not reducing the card pool. Okay.
So everyone out your way is friendly. So that makes it work. So is that why everything sucks in London, Nick? Because you're all miserable bastards?
Pretty much. But London's a slightly different place because there's no game shops like there is over in the States. You can go to conventions, but no one's playing any sort of card game. It's really hard to find new players. We have occasionally, but it's just not easy.
Basically, I try to explain, the only new players you're going to get are conscripts via your friends or your family. I just don't see this. And you know what? When I was in San Diego a couple days ago, I had lunch with Charlie and Dan, and at the time, Matt was running demos and a couple people sitting down, and I give people credit for trying. I mean, that takes a lot of work to build a demo deck, sit down, try to usher people through, but I've never seen the results of that in 10, 15 years. All the Gen Con demos, those people, Charlie was telling me we've gotten players from that, but I'm like, where? What are the names? That person doesn't exist. I'm afraid that's just a fantasy.
The only place demos work is in Australia. And I don't know how demos work, but Kieran, like you said, Worlds last year, half the players were demoed from Kieran like 2 weeks prior. And so I don't know what they're doing differently, if Australians are different, that they can just go out and demo and try this great game, but I don't know.
Justin, I did all the numbers for my post-Worlds rant about all the zombies that played, and I'm going to do it after a year. I'll give them fair warning. After a year, I'm going to look back to see if any of those people played in more events, and I'm willing to bet that it ain't going to happen. So I don't know about demos in even Australia getting a big return. It's such an investment to get no return. So, but
right.
People have been trying to chase that dragon for a long time. So I think that covers Project Awaken, all their recommendations.
Can we just? Sorry, I'm just have a bit of a rant. This Project Awaken, it's shit. There's no proper conclusions. There's no proper suggestions. I don't know if the player group was diverse they chose. Probably not. And it should have been done properly.
Yeah, and I've already talked out of school about in the staff meeting. It was already taken as gospel that these are problems, and I'm like, hold on, and there's a little disconnect between reality and Kevin as a former CC member turned dissident like me.
At least you're still retired.
Yeah, well, I'm not even. I don't even. Well, yeah, well, I'm gonna have a new job soon. I'm getting more. I'm gonna try to get at least 15 CC titles by the time I croak. But so Kevin, they're gonna let you back on the boards, man. I'm out of stuff. That's all the Trek stuff I had. We're gonna do an all Trek show, so I'm out. So now I'm gonna needle Kevin.
Well, speaking of devil, like the new players, do we need better demo decks? I mean, or starter decks. We have starter decks for all the sets. Are those not good enough for new players?
If you mentor people correctly, starter decks is not what you need. Because the truth of the matter is, though, is that the people who are gonna play a customizable card game are the people who are more or less already into gaming already. The truth of the matter is, though, is that the 20 years of Magic existing and Star Trek existing and all the dozens of different games that have come out in this world existing, the truth is, though, is that everyone has an understanding of what a card game is now, and you don't need to have a starter deck or whatever to try to ease people in. If anything, I think that your deck, the decks that you teach people with, should be complex to some degree, and then you mentor them. The most success that the success that I've had is not insulting people's intelligence. It's saying, hey, you've played Yu-Gi-Oh? Hey, do this. This is just like this. This is just like that. This is just like that. That's all you got to do, and it's that simple, you know. And I have newer players that they kept actually teach me things every so often because, you know, they understand the concept from a different game. So, you know, I don't think that starter decks are necessary. I think starter decks probably hurt us more than they help us. You know, we should have
one of the things kept being mentioned. It was that 2E is at a point, I think, lengthwise as 1E was, maybe with the card pool or the time limit. And I thought to myself, so what? 1E is a fundamentally flawed, beautiful, terrible. it's 1E. 2E, it wasn't fundamentally flawed until Nick made Khan, but I digress. It started from a better position. I don't think there's any problem with Constructed is a lot better now. It's cleaned up a lot between design getting straightened out a little bit. It's gone a little bit backwards, but that's different. And then Errata now, which has done a tremendous job. So my question to Kevin is that a problem? Is card pool an issue in 2E?
No, card pool is not an issue in 2E. Like not even close, not even remotely close. If the methodology is always going to be that Errata is going to keep super powerful stuff in control, then we don't have to worry about the size of the card pool when it comes to, you know, new players or anything, because there's not going to be any one thing that's going to be so overpowered. If there's a problem with Homeward Bound, that's the problem, is that it's over the power curve of this mythical bar that we've set now through Errata, that this is the bar, no card should ever be above this bar. We hammered down Original Thinker Kirk, we hammered down Denatra, all these cards that could swing a game by themselves. If there's a problem with Homeward Bound, is that it can swing a game by itself.
So I'm gonna pose this theory to Nick. Isn't the problem, because like I said, when I was watching, I wasn't able to make the meeting because I was out in the middle of nowhere for the 2B staff meeting, and to be honest, only 2 of those people that I saw in the last 12 months. Isn't the problem, and it's not a knock on them personally, isn't the problem people who only play once a year, and then when they sit down and try to get ready for it, they're overwhelmed, so they perceive the problem is the game. But if you continually play on a regular, semi-regular basis, maybe once every 2 months, that it's not a problem. Is this a problem, just people's lack of participation, Nick, at the top level?
Yeah, I think probably, yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Justin, what do you think about that?
Sorry, can I just say...
Oh, go ahead.
Right. When Kevin designed his set with the Bajoran stuff, remember all the outcries over how over the power curve everything was, and how one certain person rage quit over it. But people adapted, and has it been overpowerful?
You don't see Bajorans. Rarely, you do not see Bajorans in organized play hardly at all.
Now I gotta give. Last time Kevin was on the show, it was our big debate over the Minefield card, and I gotta be honest. I guess I was for once I was wrong. The Minefield card wasn't as. I mean, I abused it, but I'm a bad person. But I haven't seen it abused as much as I was. So yeah, people. I mean, we're all prone to overreact. That's what we do. We're nerds. We overreact and we bitch. So. All right, Nick. It's supposed to be an all Trek show, but I'll let you go off. What was your? Who gives a fuck about the referendum? Who cares, Nick? Why should I care?
Well, you should care because it's going to affect the whole world's economy.
Oh, there you go. There's that British superiority. American stock market's at all-time high, man. My 401k is killing it. Why do I care?
We haven't even left yet. I'm over that now anyway. I'm over that rage. I'm out.
It did fizzle out in a week. It was 1 week of British rage, and then I haven't heard nothing about it since.
Yeah, and then everyone who was on the Brexit side, who lied about the reasons for leaving, they all quit.
No, they're all in the cabinet now. Boris Johnson is your.
In the cabinet now. But yeah, Boris Johnson, foreign minister. What the fuck?
Hey man.
But if Theresa May come out and said that they're actually going to consider not doing it now because it was non-binding referendum.
Well, she's a bloody cow. No, what happened is she used to be pro-Exit, so she was a Brexiter. And then it was politically advantageous for her to side with David Cameron and stay Remain. And now that she's taken over, she set up this huge department with lots of MPs and civil servants to look at how they're going to exit.
You know what? British politics gives me such a nerd boner. You can listen to Nick talk about. Nick, I can't believe that a politician was an opportunist and switched the other way when shit went down. I don't know. My money is that somehow you weasel out of this and Britain doesn't even leave, or they come up with some kind of halfway CC-like compromise that doesn't work for anybody.
Yeah, so David Cameron didn't tell anyone that the referendum wasn't legally binding, right? And now 200 lawyers in London have written to the Prime Minister saying under current EU laws they can't leave on just the strength of a referendum.
Yeah, they're saying there's a way for Scotland to block it through some. I don't know. You guys have so many laws and different. You guys scribble something on a parchment and you guys think it's. This is what happens when you let subjects have a referendum. You guys have to be told what to do. It's just your nature, isn't it?
The whole point of what is it? So a referential democracy is you vote politicians in power to make those big decisions for you.
That's a republic. That's not referendum. That's a republic, which you do not have.
A referential democracy.
Yeah, California is a referendum democracy, and they're finally getting their shit together only because they're taxing the shit out of rich people. That's the only reason California, who does everything, they voted against gay marriage. So we all know that referendums don't work for shit. I think that's the moral.
The public should not make votes when they haven't got a clue about all the facts. Simple as that.
Well, we prove that even in our nerd activities, that the public putting things up for votes doesn't lead to good decisions. All right, that's all. That's all I got. Anything? Anybody else have anything?
What do you think's going to win? What do you think? Go ahead.
Go ahead. Let Kevin go first. You're here all the time, Justin. Shut up.
No, you asked me earlier if I was coming back onto the boards. I've been told that I'm going to have the ability to start posting again. But of course, I'm just gonna needle it. I'm gonna poke the needle. The CC leaderships. They're very quick to hurt the community and they're very slow to heal it. It took no time at all for myself to get booted out, even though my play group and I had a lot of very serious concerns about the way things were going and how things were happening. They booted us out.
You got booted out because you went Bibbles, which is fine. We all go nerd Bibbles. We all go nerd Bibbles sometimes.
Well, I only went Bibbles after there was a whole lot of behind the scenes problems that were.
Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that, Kevin. Yeah. But no, I think I didn't mention this when I was having lunch with Charlie, but I think we said before. It's like, all right, he did his time. Call the governor, get him off the hook, you know. But don't worry, Kevin. The moderators are getting bored because I figured out how to walk the line with the COC, and so the mods are going to need some work. So hopefully you can adjust to the. Well, here's a couple secrets of the COC. Go ahead.
The governor's been called, i.e., Chris Lobin. The governor's been called, and as of a week ago, I was supposed to have been reinstated. A week ago.
Well, that's bureaucracy. That's CC. It takes a while to get things. They're also. You know what? While we're shooting the shit here, you know what? All the CC guys are kind of moving on to other things. It just happens a lot with guys. They kind of, and Nick even fell off the wagon for a while. They go do other stuff. That's fine. But before you go off and do other stuff, delegate your nerd responsibilities. So we don't have delays doing. How many times do we hear, oh, it was going to be done 2 months ago, but I finally got around to it. All right, but I can only hear that so many times. So it'll be good. It'll be good to have. You think you're going to be back on design, Kevin?
I've been told that I'm going to come back on to design. I've asked to come back on to design, and I do not take any responsibility for Homeward Bound, even though I was on that set. Homeward Bound was designed after I left.
No, so, well, no, I said before. I didn't want to talk out of school about that set because if you notice, there's only 2 people listed for credits, and that's weird, right? So we all know what that set had some VH1 behind the music. Justin, you had a question. Go ahead.
What do you think is going to win Worlds? Do you think we're going to see same as Euros this weekend?
Well, Homeward Bound is going to get errated, and just like we saw after Klingon and Borg, people get. Oh my God! Something got errated. It's useless now. You can't play it. Or Borg, it's so Voyager, everyone's going to stop playing Voyager, especially Europeans. But where's it at this year? It's
here, London.
Oh, that's right, London. Yeah. So all the Europeans are going to jump off on Voyager, and they're going to go right to Starfleet, maybe. But even accumulated knowledge is being looked at by the not to change the card, to possibly make it unique. That's what they're considering. So that might get made unique. It's still really good. So you'll see a lot of Starfleet, but I think they're going to go back to Romulans because that is the well, and there's really nothing erratic can even do about Romulans.
I think half will go back to Romulans and half will go back to old school Klingons.
Romulans are who we thought they were. Rest in peace, Dennis Green. I had to get that one out there. Kevin, what's your predictions for Worlds?
Okay, I'm going to assume Homeward Bound gets errated. I'm going to assume accumulated knowledge gets errated, and I'm going to assume that all the Borg errata goes through.
That's a separate. Sorry to interrupt your thought, but all right, we'll go. 3 and 9's being looked at, and Nick 2 and 9 is the event destructor. I think that was a horrible mistake. I think he's actually a worse sin than all of them. So I don't think the Borg errata. And K&E is going to be removed from game. This is all possible. This is all stuff being considered since people cry about transparency. So let whoever watches this shit show can get their information here. So with that in mind, do you think people are going to get off of Borg, Kevin?
Well, that's the thing, though, because I'm such a heavy Borg player, I've already been figuring out how I'm going to play Borg post all those errata, and it doesn't really change that much.
Exactly.
In fact, No, because
you're right. It doesn't slow them down really that much. It just makes them not ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. They go from okay, you do the same cycle of stuff several times in a single match. So you do it once and you just hit them harder. It's about all that's going to happen with Borg players is they're going to have to be more efficient. Appropriately, they need to be more efficient with what they do, and that's it.
Well, you can't download. You can only download 6 cards instead of 16, I think.
well, you look at Kevin. Use our game in Minnesota Masters. Your Borg. I don't know. You took 15 of my personnel to eventually stop me from winning. I mean it.
Justin, he looks like he left. You don't want to hear. He don't want to hear your story. He don't want to hear your story time about Borg. But go ahead, Justin. What was your main point about Borg, Justin?
They're not. I mean, yes, some of the stuff is overpowered, but like I said, if you adapt to play around, if you know it's Borg, you change how you play your game. that's really all you got to fucking do. I mean, I've played. I mean, against the splat resistance freaking deck. The no headquarters deck. I moved my ship to the headquarters, made that opponent. You're not going to get free personnel. Play your shit until I get my grav traps to nuke your crap and then go out. You just got to adapt how you play.
I like your spirit, Justin. But what's your world's pick? At the end of the day, you got to pick one affiliation. What wins worlds?
Either past Klingons or Maquis.
Ooh, those are some outside the box picks. Sure. Nick, go ahead.
Europeans don't play much Marquee over here, so I reckon it's going to be Klingons.
Now, Nick, why would you be anti-Maquis? Would it have something to do about our Khan Maquis Beermeister game? We're going to have some story time. Would you like to share what happened at the Orlando Beermeister event?
It was a Beermeister, and you bought a Marquis deck.
It was a fun. No, oh, that was an event. That was a fun. It's my fault. 3 people decided to play Khan at Beermeister, and I'm playing a fun Maquis deck. Oh, he doesn't want to tell it, but he played Khan like 3 times, and I alarmed and rumored him back. I played Biogenic on the mission, and then when he tried to get rid of it, I kept playing Operational Necessity. So he had to just tap out. He had to just tap out. There was nothing.
Oh, fuck.
All right, that's enough. That's enough story time for the show. What's that?
Very quickly, talking of Borg and Romulans, Project Awaken. When they're talking about slow play, right? I'm not letting this go. When they talked about slow play, there was no mention of designing new cards that don't download all the time.
Or extend turns.
Things that causes slow play in the game.
It's all the downloads. Yeah, the downloads do take time.
And not only that, but cards that give you another turn, like 1E, like all the Rolling Council and Homeward Bound are just fancy 1E distortion of the space-time continuums. Just take another turn. That's not slow play. That's design extending turns to a ridiculous. Taking 4 turns in one is lazy. It's lazy design. I can't believe. Honestly, if I'm like I said, I'm going to shoot off the cuff here. How do we not learn our lesson from Rolling Council? It was just commonly accepted that it was not a good card and just unstopping people. It wasn't. And yet they did it again. They did it with another one. I just don't know how you.
But this way, I mean, you run 3 timescapes. Okay, you want to play Homeward Bound? Fine, go to another fucking mission. Go to another mission and start from scratch again. Times or self-replicating Roblox. Okay, you name Timescape. There's so many counters to Homebound right now. There's so much. I mean,
the game needs more interrupt prevention. But
that too. But there's a lot of dilemma.
Justin, I'm truly offended by all your profanity on the Lord's Day on the discard pile. This is outrageous. But I gotta wrap it up. Yeah, man. Jesus doesn't like that language. Kalis, my God, he loves that kind of language. But that's it. The show's over. Like Greasy Ducat, I'm kicking. Kevin already left, so I'm kicking you guys out of the discard pile. Good evening.